Welcome to Advice Unfiltered with Tony Rodriguez and Christopher David. Today, on today's show, Tony gets catfished. I graduate top of the class only to get dumped. People writing questions about mental health. Tell who we are. Listen, we just started this podcast.
Yeah.
Today's our first show. Very first episode. You know, and what do we call it?
It's going to be called Advice Unfiltered.
Advice Unfiltered.
You're definitely doing the intros for the video. You're definitely the intro person.
Intro person? So yeah, Advice Unfiltered with Tony Rodriguez. Which I love saying his name.
I
Tony
would say
Rodriguez.
Christopher David, but you just say your own name better than I say.
And Christopher David.
There you go. You do have the radio voice.
I do have a radio voice. I actually went to school for broadcasting, actually.
Did you really?
I graduated top of my class. Yeah, funny story behind that. So I was dating a girl. I was also bartending. And I really cared about her. And her family didn't think I was good enough for her. So I was like, fuck it. You know what I mean? And I was driving home from this bartending gig. I was doing his wedding. And I heard this advertisement for Connecticut School of Broadcasting. And I was like, huh. I was like, I'll go check that out, man. So I went and checked it out, and I paid the money, and I get in the class. And there's like 30 people in the class, right? And I'm sitting there in the back, you know, the oldest person probably there, right? I'm like, man, I was like, all right, so listen, I need to pass this class. I need to do awesome. So like the first 2 weeks go by, and I realize the teacher is like spending extra time with everybody else and like really giving them a hard time. But not really giving a shit what I'm doing. Like not a kid, not caring at all. Dude, freaking has me go in front of the mic, doesn't care, right? So finally I go up to him at the class. His name was Tim. I go up to him, I go, hey Tim. I was like, yo, what's the deal, bro? I was like, I see you treating everybody a little harder than me. You're like, you treat me a little different, dude. Like you're giving me a little special cadence and everything, you know? And he goes, man, we know who you are. I go, oh yeah? I was like, who am I? He goes, man, don't play stupid. We know who you are. I'm like, who am I? Like, oh, you're a secret shopper, man. You're sent by corporate to keep an eye on us. I go, no, dude. I was like, listen to me. I'm being straight up honest with you. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. You need to help me. Like, I don't know what I'm doing up there, bro. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, I don't know who the hell is freaking. I know nothing about the corporate. You're the only person I've met. I was like, I don't know anybody else. And but yeah, I graduated top of my class, bro.
By the way, Connecticut School of Broadcast. If I'm not mistaken, WFAN, all the big people in New York go to that school.
Go to that school. Yeah. I graduated top of my class, bro. Freaking so me and this kid Nick Dabowski. I graduated top of my class. Me and him did an amazing job. Nick actually works for MTV. Shout out to Nick. He's a pretty amazing guy. He helped me with my audio and my book. But yeah, so me and Nick graduated top of our class. And as soon as we graduated, dude, I called up the Philly Chili Bowl. And I went down and met Kevin Spraga and the Bono brothers who own like the Italian market. Yeah. And all these like really famous people and interviewed them all, dude, like a week after I graduated. And I was like on a roll. Everybody's like, man, you've been doing this for a while. And I'm like, no, I really haven't. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just kind of going with it, you know? And yeah, so freaking I go home thinking I'm finally gonna win my girl. Right? Like, I proved myself. I got top of my class. I mean, famous people, you know, Tony Spraga, Kevin Spraga, he won, you know, Master Chef and all this stuff. And then, and she broke up with me that night, left. Freaking, I come home and she's got like her shit packed and she's like, I'm out. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. I was like, I spent like all this money and all this stuff. And then she left and I never pursued it. I never went after it again. Just never did anything with it, dude.
Never did.
Never did shit. Spent all this money, dude. Graduated top of my class and did nothing with my broadcasting education.
Somewhere out there in the world is a woman who broke your broadcast career.
broke my broadcasting career. Yeah, shout out to her. Woo!
Well, I'd like to say thank you because you left him for me. So
yeah, right, there you go.
It makes it good. So
funny.
Yeah.
So funny, bro.
Well, now we know how you got the yes, the voice is real.
Yes, this is my real voice. It's
not AI. Not how many people ask me, is there AI voice generated?
I know, isn't that crazy?
I'm like, no, I know him. It's
I have no time to do that. Do you know how many people ask me in person? Like people will ask me in person if that is my real voice. And I'm like, no. Like I just pretending to have this voice because it's fun to do.
There's a rapper who did that for. Oh no,
Oh, was there?
The guy, the reggae rapper Sean. Oh my God, I'm going back to ages in the '90s.
Are you?
Shaggy.
I
His singing
remember
voice.
Shaggy.
His singing voice is not his
Nothing
real
like
voice.
that. Yeah, Shaggy's voice, nothing like that.
No, so.
Yeah.
Well, now we're here, so we take all of those heartbreaks and stories and advice and things that have happened.
I'm just
to
gonna
us.
go live. Fuck the story of the story. All right, I'm just gonna go live. I'm going live on TikTok.
Yeah, let's find out what people want to know. So,
fucking listen to it.
and just so you know, if you're watching, listening in the car or driving, what we do is we go live a couple times a week. So we're going live on TikTok. So shout out TikTok if you're watching. We go live on Instagram. We go live on Facebook during the week. And what we like to do is get questions, get themes from you, the people, the participation. Our goal in doing this is really to connect and build a community. So find out what people are thinking, find out what their questions are, find out what you want to talk about. So we'll do that throughout the week. And then we actually have an email. So it's questions@adviceunfiltered.com. So during the week, you can actually put your questions in. So we got some questions from some people. We'll give you a shout out. And then every Monday night, we come in here, film live, come from work, have a few drinks, whatever it is, and then answer your questions and hopefully tell a few funny stories about how we got to this point. So, look, now you're ready to go.
Yeah, we'll see if I watch it. I don't know. What's up, guys? So I don't get kicked off again. Do we have water? Is there water here? Do we have water? Thank you, Mick.
Your voice is parched from all.
All I've been doing is talking all day. That's all I've been doing.
From faking your voice.
From faking my voice all day. That's all I've been doing. You know.
If I get to know you for 10 years and one day you just go back to a regular voice.
Wouldn't it be funny? Wouldn't it be hilarious? Out of nowhere, my voice gets all high. Like, hey, how you doing?
It's really nice to see you.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Our audience just drops off the face of the earth.
Nobody would ever come and talk to me again. So I did a video once with me and on Snapchat, you can do a female filter. Like you can make yourself look like a chick.
Yeah.
And I did it, and I'm not gonna lie, I looked pretty good as a girl. I was like, so I take a video of myself just a girl, and I go, like that, yeah. Then I talk, and you hear my voice, and you're like, fuck. Yeah,
I'm only addicted to Snapchat because my son has it, and kids find each other that way.
Yeah. I don't have Snapchat anymore. I got rid of all that shit. I don't have listen. I don't have Snapchat. I don't have Telegram. I don't have WhatsApp. I'm never gonna say, message me, cuz I don't know, freaking whatever.
Well, that's because you've been faked enough time. So.
Yeah.
Part of the theme today is poor Chris is going through having people in other countries create fake accounts.
Yeah.
And then reach out to people. And it happened to you today, which, by the way, of all the people that someone could reach out to, they reach out to your ex, which makes it even funnier that someone pretended to be you to reach out to your ex.
Somebody I dated. Reached out to somebody I dated and pretended to be me. And then the person was like, I know Chris. And they're like, it's alive from the pit of hell, they said. Like, I don't know why they would say that, but they did. And and then, the girl I dated, she sat there and she said, I'm sitting right next to him. And they blocked her. They totally blocked her. So here's the thing. If you get reached out by a scammer, somebody saying, hey, reach me on Telegram or reach me on whatever, or they message you on any social media and say, hey, thank you for being a fan. Just tell them you know me personally, and I'm sitting next to you. And I said hi, and thanks for all the free advertisement.
Well, good. That leads into our first question. So,
what's our first question?
First question, John. We'll go John. John from Syracuse is age 27. He found us on TikTok. He wants to know, how do I know if I've been catfished? Have you ever been catfished?
Have I ever been catfished? I had somebody try to catfish me once.
Which leads us why I asked, because of all your fake profiles.
Yeah, there's a lot of fake profiles out there. I guess it's a compliment. Everybody keeps telling me to take it as a compliment. You know what I mean? Freaking that. At least people are trying to be me, but I don't know. I'd rather not be. Listen, don't give anybody any money. Like, don't. I will never ask. You can ask this guy. You can ask him. I work really hard all day,
every day.
I would never ask anybody for money, man. Like, I would never do that. So it's not my thing.
No, I've never been catfished. The only thing that's ever happened to me is the very first time I ever went on Matt. Now I've been married for 10 years, but the last time, it's an accomplishment.
It is an accomplishment in itself, absolutely.
But when I was single, I did what everybody else did. I went online. I went on Match.com. I actually got drunk and didn't know I started the account. And
every good story starts with, I was drunk.
I woke up to a bunch of messages, and my brother, oddly enough, he's been married forever, he helped me go through it, and we picked a girl. Girl looked great, looked beautiful, in Point Pleasant, wanted to go on a date, and I was like, all right, cool, let's go out tonight. So we go out to Point Pleasant.
This is Tony, by everybody, by the way. You see, this Tony right there. Is that Tony?
Hello. So we got to Point Pleasant I'm meeting her at this place called Frankie's, which is like a Portuguese bar. And so I said to her, I said, look, I don't know you, so let's make this really comfortable. How about we just get drinks? I'm like, easy, right?
Easy.
Get drinks, see if we like each other. And now the whole time I'm getting excited because you're going through this person's profile page. And I'm like, oh, being single is going to be fun. This is, I mean, no exactly. I woke up to 1,500 messages I had 1,500 messages.
Oh my God.
On
Match.com?
On Match.com.
Jesus.
So I remember just being like
1,500 messages.
I remember I was like, this is the best $23 a month I'm spending. And so I go to the restaurant. True story. I'm sitting out. I said to her, great, we're going to meet. No dinner. Let's do drinks. Because the truth was I had dinner that night with my brother. I'm sitting outside.
I've already eaten. So let's have drinks. Because
I'm sitting outside. Beautiful blonde girl.
Basically saying, I don't want to buy you dinner.
Don't want to buy you dinner. Don't know you. I'm not willing to spend money on you.
Right.
But beautiful blonde girl sits down next to me out of nowhere and starts talking to me. And I'm like, this is amazing. We're talking. We're hitting it off. Everything's going well. She's like, I thought she's just playing coy. She's like, oh, who are you waiting for? I'm like, oh, I'm waiting for this girl to meet me. All this good
man,
stuff.
Bro.
And sure enough, thank you, brother. And sure enough, as I'm talking to her, out of nowhere, I just hear someone go, hi, are you Tony?
No, you did not.
Bro. So the girl looks at me.
No.
The girl looks at me. She goes, oh, your date's here. And she goes inside. The girl definitely clearly misrepresented herself by several people into one person. So we go to the host stand, and what does she do? The host is very nice, goes, hey, you guys going to the bar? I said, no, we're just going to get some food. Or I'm just going to go to the bar. And she goes, no, we're eating. So we sit down at the table.
She was like, no, we're eating.
I don't know. I don't know what to do because I don't. She orders food, appetizers, desserts. I order nothing.
She was there for the meal, bro.
So gets done.
You're feeding me.
By the way, not only, this is how crazy it is. Not only when the check came, of course I was going to get it, but the check comes, she slides it over to me, and then she looks me dead in the face and goes, just so you know, I don't kiss and I don't fuck on the first date. But
she's like, I eat.
But here's the crazy part. I pay the bill. My brother is at the bar making fun of me. I can see him
I would
clearly.
definitely make fun of you too. I would point at you.
She leaves, and I go back in for a drink, and my phone rings, and it's her. And she goes, do you know how I know I love you?
No.
And I go, what? And she goes, do you know how I know I love you? And I go, I don't know what you're talking about. She goes, I just want you to know I love you because I do. So she hangs up with me. I go home. The next day, she messages me and goes, again, do you know how I know I love you? And I go, no, I'm so confused.
Outside your house.
She followed me home.
I called it. So called it.
She goes
outside of his house.
She goes, I saw you go into somebody's house and someone came out looking like you. So I knew it was your brother. So I knew you were really going to dinner.
Oh my God.
She goes, but for no exaggeration, for years, every now and then, if she saw like a little blip in my social media, like, oh, like a breakup or something, she'd be the first person to be like, hey. And I'd be like, no.
Dinner time. She's like, I'm hungry. Somebody feed me.
So no, I haven't been catfished, but you should definitely, the thing is really hard. You have to go through social media because you got to find regular pictures of people because people be putting pictures up from.
Dude, I wish I had that much of a horror story when it comes to that, but I didn't. So I was on my whole Match dating thing. Like I was never on Match.com, but I went on like during COVID, I went on Tinder. I think it's Tinder, the big one, right? Tinder,
yeah, Tinder.
and what's the other one? Bumble?
Bumble's the one where they
pick you, right?
They pick you, I think, yeah.
So, and this before I started acting, before I started modeling, before I had a social media presence, you know? Freaking, and yeah, so nobody picked me, right? That one person picked me. So I'm sitting there like 2 weeks into it, and I'm like, wow, I haven't got one swipe. Nothing. So I asked a bunch of people that I knew, like that were on like Match.com or on Tinder or Bumble or whatever. And they all said the same thing. They said, nobody thinks you're real. They think you're catfishing them, bro. It's like, that's so messed up. So I got off. So I was on for 2 weeks. Nobody picked me. Nobody liked me. And yeah, so.
Fuck
those apps.
Did you get right off them?
Oh yeah, no, I'm not on it. I haven't been on it since. No, if you could, no.
Which leads to another great question. So Holly from Arizona is age 42.
Age 42.
Age 42. Also found us on TikTok. She wants to know, why is it so hard to date now when you have so many more options than you ever had before?
If I had to answer that, I would say because people have a short attention span, right? It's easier now to date more than ever, right? So when stuff's easy, one, we don't appreciate it, and two, we get lazy, right? You know, it's like having a treadmill at your house. Like, who uses the treadmill at their house? Nobody. It hangs your clothes up on it, right? So if it's so easy to pick and choose and to pick and date, then where's the animal instinct in it all, right?
Yeah, my son's 17. He told me that the most difficult part of the entire the most difficult part dating is that people think they have so many options because people can DM you and send you.
Oh, yeah.
So as soon as they lose a little bit of interest or even just something, hey,
it's a little difficult. Yeah.
You're swiping to the side and you're on to the next person. So you have all these options, but to your point, you get lazy. You don't put any time into anything.
Nah, dude, that's why most guys, like, 20s rather play video games, right? They sit at home, they play video games. I get all types hitting on me and talking to me and try to DM me on my thing. And I asked, like, when it comes down, like, I'll have young girls, like 26, 27 years old, try to DM me. And I'm like, yo, man, I got a son your age. Like, I literally have a son who's 25 years old, and I will send them a picture of my son. I'm like, look, he lives in Florida, man. You should be hitting him up.
You're like, he's single. Hey.
He's single. He's hitting him up. He's a good looking guy. He's 6'1". My kid's a good looking dude. And they all say the same thing. Like, they're not manly. They're too busy playing video games and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, wow, but I get it. Listen, being my age and dating for a long time, I probably really put video games too.
Well, I look at my mom. My mom is dating. I get lucky because my mom's so young. So my mom had me relatively young. She was pregnant with me at 16. And my brother, like, right after a year, 10 months after I was born. But she's single now. She's been single for 10 years. And it's interesting because I watch her struggle because the circle gets smaller as you get older. Mm-hmm. But she's old school. So she's trying to find people at the grocery store or, just in little places that you just, and I watch her and I go, I'm trying to force her to get out of the house more and go to dinners and go meet people and get out of her comfort zone and even go on an app. But I know I can get how scary it is. But
tell her to move to Arnold Palmer's retirement home, dude. That's where I heard it's freaky down there. You ever hear about that one? Freaky down there in Florida?
I've seen enough of these retirement shows. Yeah. They're drinking by 2.
Yeah, they're drinking by 2, taking Viagra by 2:15, going to bed by 6. Who can't wait to be 80? Like, fuck. Yeah. What's the next question? Let's go to the next one.
Let's see. Do you got one from there? I'll give it another.
That one from here?
Let's see.
Who is this? I'm Christopher David, and that's it's Tony Rodriguez right there. We're doing a podcast called what's it called again?
Advice Unfiltered.
Advice Unfiltered. Yeah, Advice Unfiltered. I think that's what we should be doing.
Yes, right? These are questions from you guys. So, okay. Look,
hi, Christopher. Will you ever consider dating outside your country? Yeah, I plan on traveling eventually. You know what I mean? I'd like to. That's one of the goals of me doing this whole thing is I want to be able to be mobile. You know what I mean? And do this all over the world, right? Wouldn't it be fun to sit there and hang out if we can, like, at a bar in something like Europe, do a podcast? Oh yeah, I think it'd be fun. Right.
I'm not gonna lie. My buddy told me about his girlfriend's now wife who she was from the UK and he's from Florida and it
says we're echoing really bad. Are we echoing really bad?
It's probably because on the phone we are through the microphone.
Oh, we probably are through the microphone.
Yeah. So
I'll try to talk lower. Maybe that'll help.
But for the longest time, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't believe she was real, and he was going back and forth, and the visa thing and traveling and all that stuff was a pain in the ass. And he finally got married, and I connected with him on social media, and I saw a picture of her, and she's ridiculously hot, and he is not.
He is not. Kudos
to him. I mean, I love him.
If you're watching, bro, I didn't say that.
By the way, if you're watching, I'm not talking about you.
That's talking about you. That's talking about you.
No, but look, I think long distance is interesting because I think the beauty of the internet and the beauty of social media is that you shrink that space.
Well, yeah, I mean, the fact that you can do you can do video chat, right? That's one of the great things. Like me, my son lives, far away from me, right? So one of the great things I love about is that, like, if I want to talk to him, I can just video chat him. I get to see him. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it makes dating a lot easier. I mean, it depends though. Like, right? Like, if you can, a lot of these people are with, do not look what they think they are. Don't look like that. They look a little different. So they don't want to video chat.
You have to video chat.
You have to video chat.
If you're going long distance, you have to video chat.
You have to video chat, right?
Now, would you go to the next level and
You
instead
go
of
see him?
No, what I'm saying, instead of sexting, do you go straight to FaceTime sexting?
Would I?
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
you'd have to.
You'd have to.
I would think in a long distance.
What kind of fun is it not to, right?
I was just gonna I'm just throwing it out there in case you are from another country and would like to date Christopher.
No.
I'm just dropping small
I'm good.
seeds.
I'm good.
Just FaceTime him automatically
Don't FaceTime me. Nobody call me. I'm not answering.
while he's at dinner.
While I'm at dinner. Don't do that.
Yeah. And don't mind, guys, if you hear...
Oh, here we go. Here's a good one. I haven't dated in 31 years. Any tips? Well, here's my thing. Why haven't you dated in 31 years? I gotta. Let's get involved in this. Who is this, by the way?
Yeah, let's give him a shout out.
I just knocked him over. Where's it at? Where'd it go? Oh, I lost it. Shannon
It's in Nova Scotia.
Shannon Holtrop? No, I didn't say Nova Scotia. Where do you see Nova Scotia?
Oh, that was right above it.
That was right above it. Yeah, this is
Yeah, let's see why.
Shannon
Why not
Holtrop.
31 years?
Just divorced. Oh, you're just divorced?
Back out in the world.
Here's my thing. So if you're just divorced, then my advice to you is get to know you, single, right? Get to know you first, right? Get to love you as this new individual, this new person, and before you date anybody, get to know and love you.
I think the honest answer that everyone who's been divorced is go sleep with a bunch of people.
Oh, Jesus.
And no, look,
the best way to get over somebody's under somebody. Is that what you're saying?
There's nobody who doesn't get divorced and is not like, hey, how was the first 6 months of you being single? And they're like, well, I made a lot of mistakes. But to your point, I learned a lot about myself.
I bet you did. I bet you did.
Well, if you've been with someone for 31 years, first off, the world's completely changed. So you obviously there's probably years ago there's been separation, there's been distance created. So to your point, yes, find what you love, find yourself, get out there, experience new things, try new things. I think that's the big thing. My mom was in two marriages, so she hasn't been single since she was like 16. But it's what I think is challenging is if you're stuck in your ways that you don't want to get out and try new stuff. You don't want to get out and go do something different. And I make the joke about, sleeping with other people, but it's relatively true.
It's relatively true, right?
Everybody gets divorced.
Everybody does it.
Soothe your oats, meet some people, go have some fun. But at the end of the day, I think you have to look at it and say, it's a clean slate. You have an opportunity to find yourself and find something new to be excited about. Life, I would just say this, life isn't over.
No,
not at all.
Especially not with Viagra.
Not at all.
No. I mean that's the thing, right? So the biggest thing you can do is go out and feel you.
Yeah. Well, that going right into that one. I just saw this. It was Brazil. Nope, wasn't Brazil.
Wasn't Brazil.
Oh, here we go. Heather from the UK. Heather from the UK was 45. Found us on Instagram.
Oh, yeah?
Messaged us. What advice would you give to a single parent who is navigating the dating scene while having kids?
Put your kids first. Put your kids first, man. I before I got my last relationship, I was single for 6 years. I didn't go on a date at all. I had my kid every weekend. And here's the thing: when you get older, your kids are the only ones that can remember when you weren't there. And they're the only ones that are going to be there when you get older. Hopefully, if you raise them right, they'll be there to help take care of you when you're old. But yeah, so put your kids first. And the right person will understand all that. Make some time for yourself. In between all that, you have to, because if not, you get crazy, right? So make sure you take at least 1 or 2 days a week or a month, and just do you. Go meet some people, go do some adult things. But at the same point in time, put your kids first in the whole scenario.
Yeah, and I think it depends on so my son's just about to be 17. You have what, 10 and 25?
10 and 25, yeah.
So I think a little bit depends on how old your kids are. Obviously, it's a little different, right? I know when I started dating, my son was young. My son was just 2. And one of the best things that I think that I did was I didn't introduce. I'm going to say something very controversial that most people will not agree with me with, but it worked for me. I introduced my son to everybody, but I introduced everybody as a friend. So what happened was he never got to think of anyone as important. So in other words, if he just met somebody randomly for the first time as a woman, he'd automatically put some kind of importance on that person because he'd be like, hey, why am I meeting this person? But everyone I dated I'm not saying they had a chance to be special in his life. They just met him.
Yeah.
So to him, everybody was a friend. But when he met my wife, him and her friendship took off. And I think the one thing that I can tell everybody about how important it is when you have a kid, especially when I had a kid as young as I did when I was dating, I looked for somebody who I remember meeting her for the first time, one of the first times I met my wife in person, and I was at a party and I watched kids interact with her and loved being with her. And I knew that kids loved her, and that is what sold me immediately.
Yeah.
And I think when you take that tact on it, what I've realized now, and I can say this, thank God, and my wife probably appreciates this, I'm a much better person today than I ever was 10 years ago. But a lot of that's because I put my kids first. I wanted him to be first. I wanted to find a person for him first. Obviously, I wanted to find a person I connected with. But what it's really done is help me grow up, but it's also helped me find the right person. So to your point, I put your kids first. And if someone's got an issue with it, then that's not the right relationship to be, and you just got to move on from that person. There's too many options out there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I don't know, man. I was young when I had my oldest son. So like,
how old were you?
I was 23. I was 23 when I had him. And yeah, freaking.
Can you imagine him with a kid now?
No, it was, here's the funny thing, right? So he resented me for a long time because I worked. Like, I'm older, right? So my generation, we were taught that a man's job, especially being a father, is to work and provide, right? That's what we were supposed to do. So when I had him, I was single. His mom and me were fighting in court for like 5 years. We were fighting back and forth in court, and then I won full custody and I settled for joint. But there was a time that she left and moved to South Carolina, and I had him. I had my parents helping me and everything else, but I worked. The kid never wanted for a toy, never wanted for clothes, all this stuff, because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. But then he resented me as he got older because I wasn't there, right? I always like, oh, next weekend, Dad's working. Always like, next weekend, Dad's working, and he resented me for it. Because he felt like I didn't give him time, even though I made it to every game. I made it to every game he was at for every sport he played. I made it to every practice. I was always the loudest person in the audience. It didn't matter. I didn't get to spend time with him. And then he went off to college and he turned 23, and he called me one night. I don't know if he was drunk or not. I forget when he called me one night. He was all emotional, and he's like, I just got to tell you, Dad, I'm sorry. I couldn't imagine raising a kid right now and having to pay bills and everything else. He's like, I don't know how you did it. And I was like, man, it's just one of those things. You just do it. You know what I mean? You just do it. You don't have a choice. You know what I mean? And I like for me, with my kids, I was breaking a generational curse, right? My family is a long line of absentee fathers, so my biggest thing with them was I'm not going to be absent. But being young and thinking that old blue collar mentality of what I was supposed to be doing backfired in the long run, because then I missed out. I missed out on time because I worked all the time. And he's the only person who remembers me working. That's why I tell people now, man. I'm like, listen, man, if you have an opportunity to spend it with your kids, spend it with your kids, because they're the only ones that remember what days you worked, what days you weren't home, and I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, it's a good one. Well, actually, the other, it's one of those things where, look, we see so many short clips on social media. We see so many short clips as you go out and look at the world. But one of the things that I take to heart is I think every millionaire, billionaire, anyone that's ever had money that I respect and I watch as them get older, they all say the same thing. When it gets to be that time when you're older, nobody gives a shit about the Excel spreadsheet. All you want is to hang out with your kids and your grandkids and have them around. Yeah. And for me, one of the greatest things ever, my son's been in and out, and then he finally moved in with us about a year ago, which has been fantastic. And that was really one of the greatest, moments of my entire life, is having him live with us. And so he's trying to figure out what he wants to do for school and what he wants to go. And he said one of the greatest things to me was he comes to us and I say, hey, what do you want to do for college? Do you want to go do visits? What do you want to go see? This is going to be crazy. And he goes, I'm not ready to leave yet. He's like, I want to still be here to experience it. I'm not ready yet. And I want to be in this loving, relationship that we have here for a longer time before I'm ready to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and
that's pretty cool. See, that's good parenting right there.
It makes you feel good. I mean,
It does.
there's a part of you that's like, you can get out of the house. It's cool.
No, dude. My oldest son, man, freaking. I love both my kids to death. Like I love being a father. That's what Team David is. It's my kids. Freaking. I started this whole thing for them. But I think one of the coolest things I did raising my son is that he had the balls to leave. Like he lives in Florida. I mean, he had the balls to get up and go, and not just stick to somewhere comfortable. Right? He could have stayed up here. He could have freaking been up north, and he was like, you know what, I'm going to go down and give it a whirl, see what happens. But that's our job, right? If we raise our kids strong enough, and then they want to leave the nest. They want to go out there and do something if we can. At the same point in time, like he calls me every week, tells me he loves me. Sends me a text, says, "Hey, Dad, how you doing?" Well, he calls me Pops now. He's like, "What's up, Pops?" Because he's too cool to call me Dad. You know what I mean? So he calls me Pops. But yeah, it's cool.
You still get the I love yous, and that's when I get the hug. Even as a teen, I get the hug.
Yeah.
It just melts my heart.
Oh, dude, I know. Dude, I freaking his graduation, I go to give him a hug, and he literally picked me up like I was a baby and like swung me. I'm like, put me down. I'm a grown man. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing?
You're like, look, I work out. Don't get ahead of yourself.
Yeah, I'm a grown man. Yeah. It's cool stuff, right?
All right. I got another one. Do we got one on here?
Do we have one on here? Here's Nova Scotia. If you could collaborate with any artist, actor, writer, who would it be and why? Ooh, wait, who was that? Let's go back and see who that was. That was, I can't read that. Colt Vanessa?
All right, well, shout out.
Colt Vanessa?
Shout out Vanessa.
Yeah. So if you could collaborate, Tony, with any artist, actor, or writer, who would it be and why?
If I could, here's the thing. I can't sing for shit, but I love music. We were just talking about it before you were here with the podcast, just going through music. I would love in a million years to collaborate with somebody on a music video or a concert or putting on a production like that. Something, I'd have to choose something musical. I don't know who it would be because my music taste, I mean, I go from Led Zeppelin and The Doors to Kendrick Lamar to the Wu-Tang. I mean, I listen to everything, to country.
Too.
So
me too.
But that or comedy. I would like. I put this on the bucket list. I will do this. I want to go on stage. Actually, right around the corner, there's an open mic at a bar, which makes it much easier because people are drunk.
Stand up.
I would do it just to do it.
Just do a stand up.
By the way, just like when we do this, I go into everything being like, what's the worst that's going to happen? I get up there and nothing.
They're going to laugh at you.
They're going to laugh at me. They're going to laugh at me. It'd be all right.
Oh no!
But I would love to. If I really think about it, I would like to collaborate with a comedian and try to do stand up to see what it's like to be on stage.
All right. So which comedian?
My favorites right now are probably like a Tom Segura, Theo Vaughn. I mean, I love Chappelle.
Theo's pretty funny. Chappelle's pretty funny.
Yeah, I like a lot of the mainstay greats right now. Louis C.K. is one of my favorite. I know he's controversial. Should ask me before you jerk off in front of him. But
I know, it's fucked up. So fucked up. Everybody likes to get jerked off.
It's the craziest thing ever.
What's going on there? Yeah.
But I would probably go comedy. What would you do?
Who are the other two people talking to you? What would I do?
Yeah.
I would definitely do a action movie. I would definitely do an action suspense movie. Maybe a mystery drama. That'd be fun. I would love to do Yellowstone. That'd be fun. I think I'd be great on Yellowstone or that new one, Land, whatever. I think I'd be good at that.
By the way, that's a great show.
Which one?
Land
Something?
Land.
Same people who did Yellowstone.
Yeah, but I can't stand Yellowstone.
You can't stand Yellowstone? I've never seen it.
Look, everyone who out there loves it. I know it's a great. I can't. But the Landmark or Landman. Landman on.
I heard it's really good.
Landman's fantastic.
Right,
You'd be great on Landman.
I'll tell you right. I'll check it out. Check it out, Landman. I'll check it out. And I also like to do I would do a John Wick movie.
Oh,
and I would do a Bond, James Bond. If I could do that too, I would do that. I would get the British accent. But can you ride a horse? Yes, I can ride a horse. I actually was raised on a horse farm. We used to rescue Tennessee walkers, that were in abused homes, and we would rehabilitate them. And so I know how to ride a horse. Yes.
I do not.
You do not? Nah,
I've been on a horse, and I know enough to not get back on a horse. So
Tony's a city guy. He grew up in the Jersey Shore. Yeah.
Yes, put me on the water. Put me on a dolphin before you put me on a horse.
Yeah. No, I grew up in the country, man. Freaking, we had horses.
I like
big dogs.
I like your John Wick. John Wick's the man.
Oh, dude, that last one was an amazing movie. Cinematography at its best. It was freaking, it was amazing.
I keep getting fooled because there's fake trail, just like your fake accounts.
My fake accounts.
People make fake trailers
yeah.
from like John Wick 5, or 4, whatever we're up to now. And I always watch the trailer thinking
And
it's
then it's
real,
nothing, yeah.
and it's them cutting.
I know.
Still looks good though.
It does, yeah. No, I do the same thing, man. I see something like a Marvel movie or something. I'm like, oh yeah, and then I'm like, oh, it's just somebody making some bull crap thing to make it look like it's a movie.
That's probably the best way to look at all your fake accounts.
There's
now.
Belmar, New Jersey. You
should be like, hey, look, at least they chose good pictures.
at least they sold good videos of me. You know what I mean? At least they sold some good videos.
They're making you look good, at least, right? Could
Dude,
be worse.
it is so funny that they message, somebody I dated and pretended they knew me, that they were me, and then they told them to burn in the pits of hell. When they said they knew me, and then so then there's somebody else on here that before we started this podcast, put a whole bunch of comments in a picture form, and I can't even report it. That says, "Call me on Telegram." Like I have a Telegram. I don't have a Telegram.
Yeah, way outside my wheelhouse when you start talking about Telegram and WhatsApp and all that other stuff. So
my form, we have quarter horses, mini horses, 2 donkeys, and a goat. That's cool. I always thought it'd be fun to have a donkey. What do you two do for mental health? It depends what your mental problem is.
Oh, look, that ties into another mental health question we got.
Oh, yeah,
today.
we got another mental health. Let's do a mental health question.
All right. Well, so
'cause this is advice unfiltered.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mental health. Actually, all right, let's see.
Richard's on there. Yo, what's up, Richard? So shout out to Dr. Richard Bajaris, voted best doctor in New Jersey. Shout out to him. Great guy. I train him.
Oh, shout out.
Yeah, guy's a beast. So Richard, always love you, bro. Much love.
Richard, I'm sure I've seen you in the gym.
Yeah, you see the gym. Yeah. We'll see you Wednesday morning, bro. 7 a.m.
Well, it ties into this one. So how do you feel about alternative medicines and other options outside of regular medicine to deal with things like mental health and depression?
So how do I feel about that? Well, here's a good question. Not to answer a question with a question, but I guess it all depends on you, right? I think you should do whatever you feel you need to do to grow and evolve as a person, right? That's healthy and not detrimental to you or anybody you love, right? So I think anytime you get into alternative medicine, I think you should definitely do your research. Don't just buy into it. Like everybody I know that burns sage, to get rid of evil spirits in their house, are some of the grumpiest people I've ever met in my life. And some of the most miserable people. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, oh, I'm burning sage to get rid of the evil spirits in my house. And then literally you see them 12 hours later and they're like, oh, I hate people. They suck and blah, blah, blah. It's like, wow, sage is really working for you, bro. Like, damn. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it all depends on you, right? I know mushrooms are a big thing right now.
Yeah.
Mushrooms are a big deal. People love taking their mushrooms. And there's a big thing for hallucinogenics. Ayahuasca is another one.
Ketamine.
Ketamine. There's a lot of stuff out there right now. So I think before you do anything, you should definitely do your research on things. And whatever you choose to do for you, make sure it's beneficial in your growth as a person, mentally and physically.
Yeah, I think for me, I've had to deal with this. I don't want to say deal because it's not the right word, but I've had a lot of experience with this because I've had people in my life go through depression, continue to go through depression, been suicidal. I know for myself, years ago, I battled really crippling anxiety where I would completely black out. I almost jumped off a two-story building.
Well, that's not good, Tony.
Well, I just bring it up because it's something that people need to hear. It's everyone's different. So I'll start by saying this. I learned to reframe my perspective on things, and I think that's a big one. I think when people struggle with mental health, everyone's got a little bit of different reason. It could be you've lost someone in your life. It could be something's happened to you, so it definitely triggers something, a very depressive state. But if you're just talking about overall mental health, the first thing that I find that's really helpful is I have a structure of things. So I get up every day and work out. It's a non-negotiable for me. It's not even about so much of staying in shape or the gym part of it. I think part of it is just that I want to start my day, and I tell my wife this all the time, I want to start my day with 2 things that are really important to me, by loving something and doing something. So I get up every day and I make my son breakfast and I leave my wife a note, and then I get up and do something for myself and I go to the gym. So I think by starting my day that way, I feel like I'm starting it with love and I'm starting doing something hard for myself, so the rest of the day is relatively easy. And then the other thing is I just have a unique perspective where I think life is hard, period. So I think you come to a realization that, hey, you know what? Life is difficult. So instead of focusing on the difficult things, let me find things that I think will help me have a better perspective on what the outcome of this is going to be. I just posted this the other day. I would just say this to you, and I'd say to the person who asked us, this question. You made it this far. You survived.
Yeah, that's the good news, right? Is that you survived 100% of everything that's been thrown at you, right now. Like if you look at your life right now, where you're at, you're sitting there, you're watching this podcast with two gray-haired gentlemen, and you survived. Everything you've been through so far, you have survived 100% of. And what else can you say that about, right?
Yeah.
There's really nothing else you can say that about. Like you're 100% surviving right now.
And I would just leave with this last thing, and this is really important for everyone to hear out there. Don't please, don't ever think the world's a better place without you in it. The world's 100% a better place with you in it. Mm-hmm. People love you. It would be much harder if you weren't here.
I think that's the part that people. So we can't use the word, right? So we'll just say people who self-harm, right? People that choose to take a darker path, right? There's something that people don't understand. Like when they're like that, it's that people are like, "Oh, I get so mad because it's a selfish thing to do. How could they do that?" But really, when they're that depressed, because I've been there, you think you're doing everybody a favor, and I think that's the biggest misconception, right? Is that you get such in a dark place that you think about things that aren't good for you, and you think it's better for everybody if you're absent, right? And here's the biggest wake up call: is that you're ass wrong. Like everybody that cares about you, I don't care. I've messed up bad. Like I was homeless for 6 months. I lived out of my car. I was eating saltines every kid, for a week. Yeah. And, so like I've messed up bad. I've done some pretty things that I'm not proud of. I own them. I'll admit to anything that I've done. But in the meantime, like at the time when I was at my lowest point, I thought it'd be better for everybody that I cared about if I wasn't here. I'd make their lives easier. I wouldn't be a burden. And I think it's the biggest thing that is the biggest misconception on both sides, right? Because the person who's thinking that way is totally wrong because everybody loves you and they want you here and they want you to be healthy and they want you to be strong, And on the flip side, as the person who's had people who in their lives who've done that, you get mad. You get like, oh man, that was messed up. How can you be so selfish? How did you do that to everybody? So I think it's a misconception on both sides. I think a better understanding and a better conversation, is always important. And there's always signs, man. You can always tell. Like, some of the happiest people you think are Robin Williams. And, if you can see all these people that you think they're happy, even the guy from Lincoln Park, you ask his family the day before, they said he was in a great mood.
Yeah.
Was an amazing mood, So, there's things, but if you listen to his music now, the guy from Lincoln Park, if you listen to his music now, you realize that guy was hurting. He was hurting bad.
Chris Cornell's another one from
Chris Cornell's another one. You know what I mean? So there's signs. It's just whether or not we want to pay attention, right?
And just know that the example that that when you say to those people, sometimes money isn't going to solve those problems. Wealth isn't going to solve those problems. Those things don't make you happier. And we can joke about that, and that's saying, oh well, money pays bills. Yes, but at the end of the day, that's not real happiness.
Here's one. I like this one. Here, wait. Because this is the fact, right? Here we go. Since we're on this discussion about mental health, let's just dive into it, right? So it says choosing to be happy is not easy, but it's the way to be happy, right? So here's the thing. That's the other thing, right? Is the key word in there is a choice, right? It's a conscious choice. Do I choose to be happy or do I choose to feel sad? It really is. Like you were saying earlier, how you have that that ritual you do, mm-hmm. right? Loving something, loving yourself, doing something that's loving and caring, 2 things at least a day, right?
Yep.
So that becomes a mental kung fu, is what I like to call it, right? So you're literally setting yourself up, fighting those negative thoughts with something else that's a positive thing in your life that is going to take work to do it. It's not easy. Mm-hmm. It's not something easy to do, right? So it's going to take a little effort, but that little effort is like what they say in the Navy, in the Navy SEALs, make your bed. Like that guy said, make your bed. One little minute accomplishment of succeeding and finishing something is a huge step towards that goal of being happy.
Every day.
So yeah. So then answer your question. Answer your thing is, you're right. It's an absolute 100% choice.
Yeah. Well, Tim from Naples, Florida, age 36. He also found us on TikTok. So shout out, Tim, wherever you are in Naples, Florida.
Naples, Florida. How you doing, Tim?
Since we're on this theme right now, I'm struggling to find purpose in life. I'm not sure where to look or how to find it. My personal life is really great. I'm not a big fan of my work life. How do you find purpose? Do you know? And here's the thing. Here's a challenge of purpose with me, because I think, and this will be interesting for your take on it. I don't know that I ever, when someone asks my purpose, I think some people are like, oh, well, you're just saying it. Like, my purpose right now is to be the best father and the best husband I could be. And I say that in a way because I feel like it gives me meaning and gives me purpose. It's such a simple answer for me, but it's because sometimes I think I've looked for bigger answers and realized that the right answer is something so much smaller and easier to grasp onto. But people in my personal life that I'm friends with, that I'm family with, will ask me this question about purpose. And it's so difficult for me to give them an answer, no matter how many YouTube videos or clips I send them. But I think people really do struggle, especially in this day and age, with what their purpose is. So
that's the easy question.
Ooh, nice. See?
That's an easy question.
For podcast partners.
We'll get you. We'll go in the vibe. All right, so let's go in the vibe. All right, so here it is. So you ask, how do you find your purpose? Your purpose, above all else. Like I can say the same thing. Being a father, is drive for me. It's drive for me to want to succeed, to be an example to my kids, right? That's definitely a driving force that burns me to move forward,
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I always consider the fact that if my kids weren't here, this is still my personal journey, right? This is my personal path. This is my personal experience in life. So what am I going to do with that? What is my purpose being Christopher David? Well, it's to grow. It's to evolve as a person. It's to keep learning and moving forward. Like, the biggest thing we can do is Bruce Lee said it the best, man. You want to be like water. You want to flow, right? What causes death? Stagnant water, right? Death comes from stagnant water, being still, not moving forward, right? So the biggest mistake we make as adults, especially coming out of college, is we think, oh man, we know it all. We just learned everything, man. You know what I mean? We graduated college, we got a good job, we're paying the bills, we got a house, we just learned it all. And the truth of the matter of fact is, you haven't learned shit. There's a huge, big ass world out there, man, with some amazing things, whether it be animals or people or scenery or experiences. Those are your driving force. Your driving force should be evolving and becoming the best person you could possibly be for you. Because here's the truth of the matter of fact is, once you do that, everybody benefits. Everybody benefits. The more you learn, the more you educate, the more you become comfortable in your skin and in environments around people, everybody you care about benefits from that.
Yeah.
So that's my purpose, man. That's what it is. That's the purpose of life. That's it.
Well, that's the beautiful part of why we started this, because even people have asked me, like, why would you start a podcast? And what are you going to get out of it? What's your goal? And I said, look, I just want to learn. I said, at the end of the day, whatever comes out of this, it's a learning lesson. First of all, it's an example that you should just put yourself out there and try anything anyways. And the second thing is you have to continue that path. I finished my master's at a few years ago. So here I am in my 40s, and I decided to go back to school to learn. And most people were like, why? And I'm like, because I feel like if I don't continue to learn something and grow as a human being, then to your point, what's the point of living?
Yeah,
right?
What's the point, man? Right.
So
it's evolving. So here's the biggest thing, the biggest mistake we make is that we get comfortable. It's like, and I always use the analogy of working out, right? Because I'm a trainer at heart, right? So I've been working out for 30 plus years. And so like, here's the biggest thing is that your muscles adapt under stress. Your body conforms and changes and gets stronger and faster and better under stress. It learns to adapt, and as somebody who's been working out for a long time, and anybody who really works out, it's the results that we love. We don't really love working out. I mean, if we could look like this and not work out, we would do that, right? So it's not like, especially at our age, we want to go, oh, I'm going to go kill myself at the gym for 2 hours. But we love the results. The fact that we still feel young, the fact that we can still move, we still feel longevity. We're not aching and sore and have a bunch of medical problems, or health problems. So there's benefits to that. So why wouldn't it work for your mind too, right? So why not put yourself in uncomfortable positions of learning, pushing pride and comfort out of the way, and putting yourself in situations where you are forced to mentally and emotionally grow. The more you do that, the world is an easier place. The fact that when we stop learning, right, is and we think we know it all, is when we really become stressful and stupid. It's where anxiety comes into play, right? It's where anxiety comes into play. It's where depression comes into play. Both those things, both those emotions right there are based on the fact that we stop evolving as a person. Because as a kid, I don't remember you, but being a child, when you went to Disney World, you weren't stressed out, right? When you went to some music park, you weren't stressed out. You were about to go on every new ride there was. Every single one. Didn't think twice about it. You're like, yeah, I'm going to go on that roller coaster. Yeah, I'm going to go in that teacup. If you can, I'm going to go spin around like a crazy person. I'm going down that slide. Like you didn't question whether or not you were scared to do it or if it was not going to be fun. And somewhere along the lines, when you become adult, you do that. You stop questioning, well, I don't want to put myself in a situation because I might get judged, or I don't want to put myself in a situation because I might feel comfortable. And that's when the anxiety and depression come into play. You're always anxious about something that's in front of you, and you're always depressed about something behind you. And you forget to live in the moment, which is the gift, which is why they call it the present, and just jump in, both feet, do it. That's why we're here. I mean, we're doing it, like right here. So guys, on his proof. Me and him talked about doing a podcast like a month ago, and boom, here we are.
That's it.
So we jumped in 2 feet. I told him I burned the boats. I told Tony we're doing this or not. Freaking, I'm going to burn the boats, man. Like, we're getting on the island and I'm burning the boat,
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're all in.
That's why I told you and first of all, you said it perfectly. And all I would say outside that is don't let people, when you say what you're going to do, get it out there, say what you want to learn. Don't let other people, I wanted to be a photographer. And I decided one time to be a photographer because I didn't know what else to do. And I had just gotten laid off from my job. And I was like, all right, I'll go on YouTube and learn to be a photographer. My entire family made fun of me. Made fun of me for a year. They would take all of my crappy photos and then turn them into wrap. My brother turned all my crappy photography work, turned it into wrapping paper and wrapped all the Christmas presents for my family in it to make fun of me because amazing. I sucked as a photographer.
I'm not gonna lie. That's amazing. Your brother sounds cool as shit.
It was hilarious, by the way. And I know he's not watching, so I can bring it up.
Oh, yeah? But I wish he was. Dude, what's your brother's name?
Tommy.
Tommy.
Well, I'm sure people out there know who he is. So, yeah, it's talking to you, Tommy. But,
Tommy.
But I believed that it was something to learn and grow and do. Mm-hmm. And a year later, I shot for Kettlebell World Champion. I shot it for ESPN. I shot for Disney. I've shot weddings now and all kinds of stuff. And I look back and now it's funny when those same people who laughed at you are like, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you Photoshop some more for me?
No, absolutely.
Hey, can you come shoot this wedding? And you're like, yeah, but didn't last year you told me I was crazy and I sucked and you wouldn't help me? Mm-hmm. But now you're like, hey, can you shoot my wedding for cheap? No.
No. It's going to cost you twice as much now. In fact, Tommy, it's going to cost you 3 times as much. Fuck you and your wrapping paper.
No, I love my brother. He does everything for me. So if you're listening, he just helped me replace my hot water heater. So don't.
Oh, did he?
Whatever you need.
Whatever you need, Tommy.
Whatever you need, Tommy.
We love you, Tommy. What other questions we got here? Let me see here. What's the other guy's name? The other guy's name is Tony Rodriguez. It's right there. That's Tony Rodriguez. Tony Rodriguez.
Well, hello there. So here's one. This person's actually been a big follower of ours, so I told them I'd ask a question.
They said, hi, Tony.
Why, hello.
I don't think they sound like that. Probably didn't sound like that.
I can't go deep like that, so I'm not even going to try. It'd be awful.
Just so you know, all your voices sound like this.
All right, so Sunny from Miami. So she struggles because she has households with different views. Now,
what?
All right, so when you're married to people or dating people,
most houses have different views.
Well, how do people manage it?
You have one window at your house?
How do people manage it today with the world becoming so divisive? So whether that's, especially with politics now, not that it's a political show, but with people having different views and getting worked up about stuff, do you find it? You're a trainer too, so this is interesting. I actually saw someone say this today. When you're training people, so it's almost like having a very intimate relationship, right? Someone's paying you for service. Mm-hmm. Do you find yourself
You got to put your puzzle piece over there.
Oh, I got a puzzle piece?
Yeah, I want to make sure you're real, bro.
Oh, I'm real.
Yeah, put your puzzle piece on. Always got to put his puzzle piece. Great laugh and smile. Well, thank you.
There you go.
Chris is funny. Thank you.
Oh, look. See, I haven't even been on live long enough to know a puzzle piece was a thing.
Puzzle piece. I don't know. I guess if you, I don't know what.
That's the Chinese stealing my data.
Shh, don't do that. We get kicked off, man.
That's what it is.
Get kicked off.
I just slid the puzzle piece and it stole my fingerprint. Now all my credit cards are gone.
All of them. Right now you have 20 pages. Tony Rodriguez coming up on TikTok.
Look, I would tell you this. I will zero ever. Don't care about I don't get into politics. I hate it. I don't care about it. But I would just say.
Oh yeah, wait. Let's go back to the question here. Wait, so they live in a house.
You're
Who is this?
married.
Stephanie?
She's Sunny from Miami.
Sunny from Miami.
And it comes from actually a couple of people. They submitted this as a group because a couple of the ladies live here in New Jersey, and one of them I think is a Real Housewife. So it was an interesting question. And the only reason I chose it was because one of them is
Wait, this is a Real Housewife?
One of the friends of people that asked us this question.
Oh yeah.
So
they actually met me. So it was who I think it is. They actually met me at Gab's. I actually met a bunch of the Real Housewives of New Jersey at
Gabrielle's.
Yeah, no,
the infamous steakhouse. That's a club next to Whole Foods.
Crazy.
By the way, it's awesome. By the way, and Frank does a great job there.
Yeah, Frank's pretty cool. Shout out Frank. How you doing, bro?
Shout out Frank. He's been amazing to us. But you don't. It's a gem that you don't know is that until you show up after 10 o'clock.
So let's go back to Sunny here. Sunny from Miami.
So Sunny from Miami wants to know how do you manage a
house.
household when it comes to two people having completely different views on the world today.
You keep your opinion to yourself.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So like here's a perfect example. So my parents were married for a long time. My stepdad and my mom. I think it was like 36 years or maybe it was 46. I don't know. It was something like that. And they both had different political views and they never talked about it. They literally would only talk about it with people that they knew that they wouldn't agree on anything they had to say politically, but they loved each other enough to respect each other's opinion and not talk about it. Yeah. They didn't say who they were voting for. They didn't say anything like that. They went together and they voted on their own. But they never told each other who they voted for. It wasn't like a big celebration. There was no competition. It was they loved each other enough to respect each other for having two different opinions.
See, it's one of those things for me where I don't get into it so deep because if politics is the driving force of your relationship and that's where you're the main focus of what you two have that you either communicate about or talk about, I don't think you're in a good relationship. I think, like, in other words, you could be the two biggest political pundits right now. One of the guy runs the DNC. His wife is one of the heads of the RNC. So, and they're married for 40 years.
Yeah.
And so in a relationship, you should be different. You should have different opinions. You should be able to. But if your partner and you can't respect each other enough to know that you can have different views and that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you're in the right relationship.
I agree.
So
here we go. Here's a former NFL cheerleader here. Needs to start training with you ASAP. Gloria. Cool. Come to New Jersey.
Shout out. Well, Gloria, shout out to Melissa, who's and Blake, who are two of my best friends. She is a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
Oh, nice.
So so watching that show on Netflix was hilarious.
Oh, the Dallas cheerleaders or whatever.
By the way, I will say this to the NFL: I don't understand how you don't pay cheerleaders more money. $35,000 a year to be the face of your franchise, to travel over the country to do that job is kind of ridiculous. And I think you make enough money to pay cheerleaders more money. So.
Yeah, I agree. You make billions of dollars every year.
Yeah, and and $35,000 for the year.
Is that what they get paid?
That's what they get paid. $35,000. Wow, that's awful.
That's terrible.
Awful. Can't have another job, by the way. Can't work anything part time on the side, and you have to travel around the world on $35,000.
Yeah, that's a little ripoff. There's Kansas City. Since we're talking about football, who's going to win the Super Bowl?
So my son loves the Eagles because his mother's family's from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing
I understand
you
that.
might.
Yeah, well, here's the thing about being born and raised in Pennsylvania. If you're on the East Coast, you have to love, the Eagles or you get your face stomped in. If you on the West Coast, you have to love the Steelers or you get your face stomped in. So it's pretty much your option. Living in Pennsylvania, you have to love one or the other. I think what's his name? The guy who did that play on the Eagles. I'm going to say his name wrong.
Saquon Barkley?
Yes. I always want to call him Daquan. I don't know why.
Saquon's the man.
Yes.
I hate the Eagles and Saquon's the man.
Listen, Saquon could have he should just get a Super Bowl for doing that play, dude. I've never seen anybody.
Over backwards?
Yeah, backwards. Like, you crazy? That was nuts.
Shout out Saquon. By the way, got engaged today. Shout out Saquon.
Oh, did he really?
Now that you're in the married life, your game is going to go downhill.
Get a prenup.
So I hope so.
Prenup.
I am taking the Kansas City Chiefs to win. So
really?
Yeah, because you just don't look.
Let's make a bet right now. Let's do it right now. Let's make a bet.
I'll make a bet.
Let's make a bet.
I'm taking Kansas City. Will you take? All right. So what's
I'll take the Eagles.
By the next, when we go live, we'll have settled what the bet will be because we'll go live on TikTok again before.
Oh, what is that? We can't make the bet in public, so whoever wins will have the thing sit in front of them next week. All right,
you'll know who. Well, we'll know, but yeah. Look, I'm excited for Super Bowl anyways. No matter who's in it.
It's gonna be a great game.
I'm a Cowboy fan, so I know. I know.
Cowboys haven't been good since '95.
I'm watching people drop off the live right now.
Right. Cowboys have not been good since '95. The only thing good about the Cowboys is the cheerleaders.
But that's what I grew up with. I say to my son all the time, my life has been great because I got the Jordan years and I got the Cowboy years in high school.
Nobody's better than the GOAT, Jordan.
Yeah, so I got that's the sweatshirt. I wear this sweatshirt all the time.
Chiefs by 3. Chiefs by 3. They say, yo, Cowboys, what the F?
I know. Please don't drop off the line.
Eagles 24 points over Kansas.
Right 24. On. I mean, look, any of those things are possible. They're both really the two best teams in football. So
look at I fraud is the reason I know who you are. I fraud. I don't know what that means.
I don't know. They probably spell checked it wrong. So what else we got?
Please don't turn me against you going live.
All right. Let's see. Oh, here's one. Brazil, by the way. Brazil was the most interesting one I got. That was from TikTok. It's one of your followers from Brazil.
So we're going to Brazil.
Brazil. I can't even imagine what. Have you ever been to Brazil?
No.
You ever been to South America?
Where the BBL's from, though, and I'm not very happy about it. So don't get a BBL, people.
No.
They know.
It doesn't.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows. You're not fooling anybody, bro.
When you come back from vacation, everybody knows.
Everybody knows you got a BBL. Like it's not like, hey, you can't tell. No, you can tell. You know. Everybody knows.
By the way, I told you this the other day at the gym.
Did you get a BBL? No.
Look, I will say this as a guy. This is true. The older you start,
what's up, Australia?
You start dressing right and even as a guy, having an ass in jeans is an important thing.
Yeah.
Shitty jeans.
Shitty jeans will be a terrible thing for you.
That's part of being married when your wife's like, you got to take those jeans off. And I'm like, why? She's like, you have no ass in them.
Oh, that's
And then funny thing is, I'll go out and.
Could you imagine if you said it to your wife?
No.
Could you imagine? You got to take that top off because you're flat. You got to take that bottom off because you have no ass.
I don't.
She'd be like, what?
Very happy I don't have
ching.
My wife has to fight me to get her off.
Yeah.
I always check every day. Still mine.
Sorry for my ignorance. What's a BBL? Look it up.
Yeah, you got to look that up. We don't want to get kicked off.
What's up, Sandy in Australia? What's up, Sandy? I get a big following in Australia, so we should give a shout out to Australia. I actually have an Australian flag that somebody mailed me once.
We have an Australia question.
Do we have an Australian question?
I think I had an Australian. Oh, yeah.
What's up? Here's the Australian question.
Oh, you'll love this. I actually saved this one for you because, so just so you guys know, we had about 180 questions come in.
Really?
Yeah.
So let's tell them right now. Where can you go to submit a question?
If you would like to submit a question, you can find us here at questions@adviceunfiltered.com.
Questions at unfiltered? No,
Advice Unfiltered.
Questions at unfiltered.
I
can't even.
Nobody's going to ever ask us
Nobody's going to ask us questions. No, I totally messed up. Adviceunfiltered.com.
All right. So this person's name was Living That Real Life 27, and they're from Australia. What advice do you give this? And I thought this was hilarious because you'll appreciate this. What advice do you have to give someone who's dating and trying to find out how real a person's life is because social media seems to be so fake?
So wait, what's the question again? Say it again.
So in other words, what they're saying is they're trying to date people, but before they go on dates,
they check their social media.
They're trying to look to make sure the person's real, their jobs are real. So this person actually, by the way, so just to give context to this person wrote me a paragraph. And what they were asking was, when you're meeting people nowadays and you're piecing together their life, you can go on Facebook and Instagram and you're piecing stuff together. But but she's had experiences, according to this email, where people are scammers or they're broke or they don't live that life or they don't have, everything on social media is just the best of what's not real. And she's struggling with
social media is not real?
Well,
it's not real. I mean, all those videos I see of all those people with, those are all filters? It's all filters?
We asked the podcast team here to give us filters, but they said no.
Wait, I really look like this?
This is what we look like?
That's what I really look like? Fuck.
People are just dropping off.
Yeah, no, just dropping off. No, I mean.
And I only thought because you deal with this because how many people have fake.
Well, it's funny you said that because right here I just saw a message on TikTok from Sushi Girl. I used to do it with Sushi Girl. It says, I've had many messages from the fake you. Yeah, the fake me's are busy.
They are.
They are very busy, man. They're making a whole bunch of fake accounts and messaging everybody, and they're busy bees, man. Yeah, so I guess it's hard to tell, right? I guess you know, like I don't know, take them to a water park.
Take
Then you can see if they're real or not. I guess. I mean, I don't know. If we can, it's a crazy world we live in, man. Especially with AI. Like, it's a crazy world, right? If we can, like, there's an account that somebody took my video and AI'd my voice over top of it. You know?
Oh yeah, I told you about that. Yeah, they deal with that stuff now.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Oh yeah, I had 7 messages from me. Yeah.
Look, if you're out there and you're faking Christopher David's accounts, what first of all I'd like to say is thank you for the free publicity from a PR standpoint, but stop asking people for money.
Yeah, don't do that. And listen, if you're going to spell cuz, get the proper English. Make it because.
Yes.
Don't just say cuz, because this makes me sound stupid.
Yes.
I'm not,
better grammatically.
I'm not stupid. So let's speak it. You know, if you're going to do it, say, you know, may God bless you, and I message you because, you know, you're a fan.
Spell check it. Throw it in ChatGPT.
Yeah, man, you can do it. Like, listen, man, if you're so good at copying my pictures and stealing my videos and pretending to be me, at least get my dialogue down.
All right, so we have time for one more question. So as we're wrapping up here, so I have one.
Oh, it's over already? It's over already, guys.
Let's see if is there one here before I got one that I will wrap up with. But is there one more from your live audience?
Let's see here. It says somebody says you called me honey, so I knew it wasn't you. Yeah, it's 10 accounts I've blocked. Our fishing trip is canceled.
Our fishing trip was canceled.
That's a good one. I had someone with a fake you account today. There are a lot of fake profiles of everyone. I don't know. So we're not getting married. No, we're not getting married. No. So busy, so quick. Yeah, it went by really fast, man. If you can, I want to listen. First off, I want to thank everybody for watching.
Wait, we got one more.
We got one more.
I think it's gonna be important to end for thank people.
All right.
The question came from a couple people. How do you learn to love yourself more?
Good question. How do you get to learn to love yourself more? I actually love this question. So I tell everybody one of the best things I've ever learned was to love yourself as if you love somebody else. You know, to visualize you being that other person, right? What wouldn't you do to show somebody how much you love them? How many times would you forgive them if they messed up because you love them that much? How many times would you be patient and compassionate and understanding with that person you love if it was you? You know, so my biggest advice, man, is to love yourself as if you love somebody else and give yourself that same patience, that same understanding, that same compassion, and that same forgiveness. It's one of the hardest things you could possibly do. Everybody looks for Zen. Everybody looks for that big Buddha moment of peace, right? The peace comes with acceptance of you, accepting your flaws as much as you accept your good things, right? So the biggest thing we do is we run away from our flaws and we beat ourselves up. When we do something amazing, we give ourselves maybe 2 minutes of gratitude where we pat each other on the back and we're like, oh man, I did really good today. I did something amazing today. Whether it be you did your laundry like I did the other day and I put my clothes away, you know, I did some big boy stuff, you know, like give myself that few moments of like I accomplished something, I did something, you know, and give myself that gratitude that I accomplished something today. It might be last maybe a minute or two, right? But if I mess up, if I do something wrong, if I upset somebody, if I didn't do something good at my job, I'll beat myself up all day over that, right? And I'll be like, man, why did I do that? You know, or somebody cut me off on the road and I get upset about it. You know, why am I upset about it? You know, there's little things that we focus on that aren't good for us because it's easier to focus on the negative than it is to give ourselves a pat on the back and say you did a good job today. You know, you did an amazing job. So I would think the first thing you have to do to grow as a person, to grow and love yourself, is to give yourself that same love and compassion and understanding as if you were totally in love with somebody else. Because if you love somebody unconditionally, which there's always conditions. Let's get that straight. Everybody says unconditionally. There's always conditions about love. You know, if we can, let's
Only
get that.
dogs, children, and women are loved unconditionally.
Yeah, that's a Chris Rock. What's his name? Chris
Rock.
Chris Rock quote right there. Yeah, it's true. So, but give yourself that same love and compassion, and understanding, and then also seeing things for what they are. Right. Sometimes we get images of ourselves, of perspective of ourselves, but we have the realistics of it all. Life is hard. It's hard being an adult. You know, we're actually just giant kids, man, trying to pretend to be adults is what we are. You know what I mean? We're just larger kids with older organs, and we're just trying to get it through life all together, man. So I think the moment you love yourself as if you love somebody else, and you understand that it's not just about you, that it's about we, that the more open and understanding you are with yourself, and forgiving yourself and loving yourself for the mistakes you've made as much as you love those small accomplishments, saying, yes, you know what, I did those things. I own them. I fucked up here and there. I did that shit. You know what I mean? Owning that and truly learning from it and truly, growing from it is the best gift you could possibly have to evolve into a better person.
And if you need any love, just remember, that's why we're here, to build a community to go live. So we'll be live again this week. You'll see us out on the TikTok. You'll see us on Instagram. You'll see us on YouTube. We're going to push this out this week for you guys. Yeah. But just remember, the point of this is really not only to have some fun and connect with people, but to build a community so that if you're feeling down or you're not feeling loved, you can find us. We got some love to give to people.
Well, that's the thing, right? So the show's not, my favorite quote is, it was never just about me. It's about we. We changed the world together. So that's the thing. Like, the show is all about you guys as much as about us. So we're going to keep doing this, and you guys keep following, keep sharing, keep liking, and we'll do more.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, everybody.
Hold on, one quick.
Oh, yes.
Real quick. What's the name of the show?
Advice Unfiltered.
Advice Unfiltered.